so weird I don't have anything to laugh at because Michael's not trying to make me laugh behind the scenes, but oh well, it is what it is. Hey everybody, and welcome to From My Mother's Basement, the show that celebrates being a geek. I'm Jason. Michael is not going to join us this week. He is feeling a bit under the weather, so he needed to take a week off. So hope you're all with me when we join me in telling Michael we wish him the best. Hope he feels better very soon. Hope he can join us back next week. Quick note regarding next week. I've been told there's something called the Bowl of the Supers, and but it has nothing to do with superpowers. It's kind of weird. But I've been told everyone watches that, so I guess I should watch this for the sports ball or the advertisements or something. But I'm not quite sure yet how we're going to handle the show for next week. I don't know if we're going to wait until the Bowl of the Supers violently ends in a clash of the Titans or something. I have no idea. Or if we're just going to preempt it entirely. Just follow me on Facebook and Twitter, OtakuLife Jason, and I will let you guys know sometime this week how we are going to handle that. All right. Well, let's jump into some news, shall we? Because it's just me on the show, we're going to start off with some anime news, because why the hell not? This is talking about Ghost in the Shell. This is by far in my top 5, if not my favorite anime/manga franchise of all time. And the reason we're talking about it on this show is because of a little studio called DreamWorks. They've been working on a live-action adaptation of the original manga, not the TV series, which I really love, but this is actually going to be an adaptation of the original manga. They announced the rights, that they picked up the rights to a film, I think it was back in, I want to say mid-2000s. It's been so long since they first made the announcement that they got the rights and were start working on a film. That's gone through a couple different writers already in terms of the script, but according to a recent article by Deadline, it looks like DreamWorks actually signed up a director for it, even though the script isn't done yet. His name is Rupert Sanders. His latest film that he's directed is actually Snow White and the Huntsman. Significantly different to the cyberpunk stylings of the Ghost in the Shell universe. I'm kind of curious to see where this is going to go. I mean, here's the other thing though. I look at this going, here's a guy who doesn't really do much in terms of sci-fi. He's attached to do this film, also a new crime saga movie, also a biopic on Napoleon. I mean, it looks like this is kind of like the odd man out for him. Whether or not he's going to stick around with this is left to be determined. I'm still curious to see who's actually going to write the final script for this. And if we can get a hint of not only who it is, but also what path are they going to take, because there's multiple storylines throughout the Ghost in the Shell universe that they could easily turn to. But yeah, there's no word yet from DreamWorks if they're even considering like a specified time frame, like summer of 2016 or anything like that. Nothing yet on that, but this is just so early on in the game, but I still felt it needed to be talked about a little bit. So we shall see. But let's also talk about another movie that we know has a time frame. It's actually coming out like next week. And that is the Lego Movie. This movie has hooked me from the first teaser trailer. If anything, for just the sheer nostalgia factor. I've yet to meet a person who has not had some experience with Lego in their childhood. I used to have giant tubs of the plastic bricks, and I would spend days building things in my room. And so to see something like this come to life on the screen, it's actually going to be really cool to see. I'm hoping this actually lives up to the hype, like, you know, most movies. But I do have to say, this latest video is actually kind of like what they're calling a behind the bricks view of how they've made it. So you have all these characters from the movie get together talking about who's playing them in the theatrical version, and it's actually quite hilarious. keep in mind that when you're watching this, look in the backgrounds, because there's a lot more stuff going on than you initially thought. So enjoy. Gotta love that sweet molasses. It just shows that not only the voice talent, but also everybody who was working on it definitely had at least a good had a good time working on it. I mean, probably long hours in terms of the animation quality, but when you look at it and you think of the detail that they have in each of these, you know, just these promo shots, they're actually incredibly detailed. I mean, I'm quite sure I could probably pick any part of these buildings in one, and I'd probably still have the Lego pieces for it here. And for those of you still asking in the chat, yes, I will post the link to this trailer in the chat in a little bit. Just remind me later on. So that's going to come out very soon. I think, like many of you, we're going to go see this when it first comes out, day and date. We have a little less than 2 weeks to go. This actually is hitting theaters in the United States February 7th, so a week from Friday. So I'm hoping to actually catch excuse me, at least a midnight premiere the Thursday night before, because this movie kind of deserves to have that kind of a release. So should be a hell of a lot of fun to go to. Anybody in the Southern California area, San Diego, Orange County, if you guys are going, let me know. Maybe I'll arrange a little meetup for it. It could be a hell of a lot of fun. Moving on, we'll talk about Batman in a moment. We want to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. real quick. The higher-ups over at ABC have already came out in several interviews, admitted that they were disappointed with the start of how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. For the first season was going. They claimed there's going to be a big solid ending for this season, and it looks like there's going to be a few changes going on in the future. I was hoping to have Michael on this week so we can talk about what happened with Coulson. Maybe we'll get to that next week. But of course, by next week we should have some additional S.H.I.E.L.D. information to talk about. First off, let's talk about they're actually going to add some new people in. Right now, they've actually, I believe starting next week, Bill Paxton has actually been signed on to play a character in 4 episodes as John Garrett. You might remember him from the Marvel Comics. We also know that Lady Sif from the Thor movies is actually going to make several appearances throughout the series, because apparently she's coming down to Earth to track down Lorelei, which is a villain from the Thor comics. Be curious to see how that's going to tie in with all of this. The last time that S.H.I.E.L.D. tried to do a tie-in with the Thor 2 movie, there was a lot that was left to be desired with that. There wasn't really much there. Let me phrase that. There could have been a lot more to be used, but they decided to go for a very generic route. Yes, I know when you're talking about trying to tie in a movie to a TV series, you can't get have the guarantee that every single person who's watching the TV series is going to go see the movie. So I understand it, but at the same time, they could have done so much more. And hopefully with these upcoming episodes with Lady Sif, could be fantastic. The other bit that I'm actually pretty happy about is actually Mike Peterson. You might remember this character just started coming back in to the series. He was actually in the first episode, and then he came back. With this character, and the last scene of episode 12, he was revealed to be alive, but missing a few limbs. So it makes me wonder, where are they going to put this character? Where are they going to throw him in a cyborg suit and have him go amok? Why, yes. Yes, they are. It looks like he is going to be turned into Deathlok from the Marvel Comics. Now, if this variation of Deathlok actually gets anywhere near the level of like the chaos that and just pure destructive power that the comic version has, this should be a huge treat for all fans. So this should be a hell of a lot of fun. I'm waiting for more information regarding a possible tie-in, or at least a setup to the series of events that's going to happen in the upcoming Captain America: The Winter Soldier movie. But that shows up in early April, so they still have some time, but we'll see what happens. So at least ABC and Disney and Marvel are actually throwing a lot more interest into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because I know Michael keeps on saying they keep on going back to it's the Sky Show. Well, every single character needed a backstory, and some needed to have a few more episodes to be elaborated upon. And for what it's worth, I think they've done a decent job. They may have gone over a little bit on the Sky stuff, but it's obvious if you guys have been watching it, they're not even close to being done with that route, but it is what it is. I'm just hoping things get better down the road. Okay. Let's jump back over from Marvel over to DC. And we actually have a new trailer for the next animated feature from DC Comics. And this one is going to be the first of 2 Batman-centric films that will be released in 2014. And this one is the trailer for Son of Batman. Alright, so based on the 2006 comic book story by Grant Morrison, who worked on the All-Star Superman series, Damian is, out of all the Robins that have been out there, I think he's actually my favorite. So I'm just curious to see how, or what version of Damian they're going to go with, because there are some, from what I remember, there's actually a couple different versions of Damian, depending on which universe you go in. Some are dark and brooding, some are where he's just a dick. I'm guessing this one probably take the middle route here. The animation style kind of reminds me of, like, you know, Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Legend of Korra. Has that same feel to it. I think the actual voice cast is actually pretty good. You know, Jason O'Mara, Thomas Gibson, Stuart Allen, Morena Baccarin back from Firefly is actually having a voice in this. I think that should be really well done. And if they follow the ending of the comic series, or that comic storyline, in this animated feature film, this should be an absolute treat for any and all Batman fans. So I'm hoping this will be good. We'll find out later on this year if it is any good. And we'll find out sometime this spring. And then again, we also have the second animated Batman feature film coming out later on in 2014. There's already been a teaser out after I think the latest Justice League animated movie, that the next big animated movie to come out after these is actually going to be Aquaman, of all people. Which, I look at this and I go, Aquaman? Really? I mean, he's, for lack of a better phrase, he's kind of like the little bitch kid of the Justice League. Now, granted, he does do some kind of cool things every once in a while, but it's only in very specific settings. It has to be deep in the sea, and he has to, you know, be incredibly pissed off. You throw him into like a tiny lake or a stream, and he's kind of pointless. That's just me, though. Yeah, I'm going to kind of stay away from that one. But this one, Son of Batman, should be great to be reintroduced to Damian Wayne, and let's see how much of a hothead he truly is in this movie. Well, speaking of movies, there's always been interesting stories that come out when new technology is added or interacting with the entertainment industry. And Google Glass is going to be no exception to this. If you guys follow me on Facebook, I was posting about this earlier in the week, or last week, about a theater goer at an AMC theater in Columbus, Ohio, was wearing his pair of Google Glasses, or Google Glass. He actually had them fitted with his prescription lenses, so he actually needs these to, well, I don't know, see. And he's gone to the movies a couple times wearing them. he basically turns them off in the course of the movie so he can watch it comfortably, and then turns it back on when he walks out. Well, last week he decides to go see the new Jack Ryan movie, which I will I'll talk about that at the end of the episode. And mid movie, he's actually pulled out of the theater and questioned for over an hour by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement special agents. Yeah, so here you are watching a movie. You are all of a sudden pulled out of the theater. Your glasses are ripped off of your face, and you're interviewed for over an hour because these people thought that he was illegally taping a movie. Now, he claims that during the interview or questioning, he repeatedly invited agents to connect his glass USB port to a computer to demonstrate there was no content on the device except for photos of his dog and his wife. It wasn't until over an hour later that they finally hooked up his glass to the computer, realized that the device contained no illegal recordings, and sent him on his way with 2 free movie passes. That's it. There's only been a statement out by Immigration and Customs Enforcement talking about there was a man detained, thought that he was suspected of illegally taping a video. They were satisfied after questioning him that he was not, and no further action was taken. That's just kind of bullshit if you question me. And yes, does the Google Glass have the ability to, film something as easily as that? Yes. There are ways of disabling it. There's ways of turning it off. Now, if he didn't need the glass, the prescription lenses to see, yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't have worn them in the theater in the first place. I think he's level-headed enough not to do that. But then again, you also have to have the theaters realize that you're going to have to deal with this in a very real way in the very near future. And we're starting to see interactions with the law and Google Glass wearers start to get pretty nasty. I mean, look at a few months ago in California, a woman was pulled over and given a ticket for wearing Google Glass while driving. The cop was claiming that she was using, I forget the official law title, but it's driving with the view of a display in view of the driver to possibly cause a distraction. There was no way to confirm in court that the Google Glass was actually on at the time, and the ticket was later dismissed. I really like this idea of wearable technology, but unfortunately I see organizations who are not ready to deal with something like this going to cause tons and tons of problems, which makes me wonder, do I want to deal with that in the near future in picking up a Google Glass or any other kind of wearable technology? And had to explain this over and over and over again. Early adopters, I'm sure, have had this problem multiple times, but when I read this article, it made me sad, because this technology is awesome. Everybody should be very happy for it, but oh well. I guess some companies just have to realize that they need to get with the times, or else why even bother going to the movies again, where I can just watch stuff online, and I can stuff are coming out on digital and Blu-ray and DVD faster than ever. So why even go to the theater and spend all that extra money when you're going to harass people like that? But that's just me. Speaking and continuing my bad transitions over, speaking of spending tons of money at the theaters, why not spend tons of money on video games? And no, I'm not talking about buying a PS4 and an Xbox One and Nintendo 3DS and just buy a bunch of games for that. No, I'm talking about spending tens of thousands of dollars for a single game, an old school game. We're talking about specifically this one. This doesn't look like much. That cover was scratched off and it's hastily scribbled on Mario. But this is actually one of the rarest games in the world. This is actually a copy of the 1990 Nintendo World Championship. During that championship, there was actually a custom game that was asked players to beat levels from Super Mario Bros., Rad Racer, and Tetris in less than 7 minutes. There was only 116 of these things made. Now, this one actually went on eBay with a starting price of $5,000. It kind of went for somewhere around 15, if I remember correctly. Which is absolutely incredible. Never mind. Not 15. I stand corrected. The final price after 328 bids was $99,902. Then again, one of the rarest games in the world. Shortly thereafter, there actually was another cartridge put up for sale on eBay. This one is a yellow cartridge and hastily typed in Legend of Zelda. This one is actually a prototype NES cartridge for the US release of The Legend of Zelda. If you guys have the low price of $150,000, you can click the Buy It Now button and pick this up. Now, here's the thing though. The person who is selling this claims that it's fully functional. It can save its game on the still functional industry first battery backup. That was a big thing at the time. And that this version, actually, he can't see any differences between this copy and the retail version of The Legend of Zelda that came out. So if you are even going to consider picking this up, you have to be just buying it for solely for the collector's value. But 150 grand, buy it now for this. I mean, when you have something as rare as this, you would probably want to try to send it out there. You know, go to like an official site that actually could be verified. I mean, yes, they have to take a larger chunk out of it, but you get a little higher quality in terms of the who's actually promoting this. But you know what? Apparently, he didn't have to, because this one was sold already. I just checked it right now. The best offer was accepted. So something less than $150,000 was accepted. You know, just having that much money to go around and play, just to buy games like this, it'd be nice. It'd be really nice. But then again, I'm also living paycheck to paycheck like most of you out there. So $150,000, that's 4 years straight of my money. Yeah, no, thank you. Maybe if I win the lottery, I'll start getting into stuff like that. Either that or supercars. Who knows? Let's go from games that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to games that are just as fun, maybe a little bit more fun, and they're actually free. For iOS, a free-to-play version of the classic JRPG Tales of Phantasia just launched. You can get this for free, download it. It is the free-to-play style, which means there are freemium options, also in-game microtransactions. But if you just wanted to play the game straight through without buying anything in-game, you can still do that. So if you have any iOS device, iPod, iPad, iPhone, why haven't you downloaded this and why haven't you started playing it? Here's the only drawback to this. For some unknown reason, this game, even though it's a single-player RPG, we're back to SimCity all over again. It requires a constant online connection. So you download this, you want to play it on the go, but you have a Wi-Fi only model. Even though it's a standalone game, there's no online components save for the microtransaction system. It has to be online. I hate this crap. I mean, at least EA finally got smart regarding SimCity well beyond after they should have. But they said their next major patch is going to make SimCity, the new SimCity, offline. This doesn't even need to be online, but oh well. This should be a hell of a lot of fun. If you guys have never played this, I remember playing this back on the Game Boy Advance back in the mid-2000s. So it's been a while. If you guys never played it, this is going to be a treat for you. Granted, if you're in a place where you have online connection. Oh well, so go check that out. It's Tales of Phantasia on the iOS App Store. You guys want to go check that one out. Okay, well, what we've been watching. Well, last night, me and a few friends went to go see the Jack Ryan movie. And for those who don't know, Jack Ryan is a very famous character that Tom Clancy wrote a slew of books that I own and I really enjoy reading, starring this character. With this movie, it's unlike previous Tom Clancy movies where it was based on an actual book. This one is actually based just on the ideas of the character of Jack Ryan, played by Chris Pine. I have to say, Hollywood has not learned their lesson. When they started making these movies, Jack Ryan was played in several movies by Harrison Ford, and by far still the best. Absolutely. I believe in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, there was a hope to be a reboot of sorts, using Ben Affleck as Jack Ryan, and I absolutely hated that movie. With this one, I was hoping that, okay, you're going to take the idea of the character and hopefully expand upon it and make it enjoyable and be a nice espionage thriller. The only thing I got out of this movie was that his girlfriend in the movie, played by Keira Knightley, apparently has a thyroid gland the size of a baseball, because she probably still only weighs 90 pounds soaking wet. The action was badly paced. The story tried to make sense in a modern era, and then tried on top of that to make it dramatic and interesting, when the entire plot could have been handled over the course of a single conversation on Skype between programmers. I was hoping for more. I obviously did not get it. I know that the people behind this movie were hoping to turn Jack Ryan into like another Bourne character, like Jason Bourne. It's not going to happen. Considering how poorly it's done so far in theaters, whilst Frozen's still making, well over $700 million worldwide. But we're not going to get into that part. But yeah. So if you're going to go see Jack Ryan in hopes to, if you're a fan of Tom Clancy movies and you're hoping this is going to be like the past movies, you're going to be sadly mistaken. I was hoping for more. Didn't get it. It was a disappointment. Other than that, just watching a bunch of random anime. And I do have a new series, well, a very old series that I never finished, that finally came in the mail. I only watched the first half, and then I saw it online for $20. It is His and Her Circumstances, Kare Kano. Still a fantastic series. I read the manga, but I never finished the anime, so I had something to watch this week. So hopefully I'll get a response to you guys about what I think about it before Anabreak. Which, as a reminder, Anabreak this week is not going to be on our standard date and time, which is usually Wednesdays at 8 p.m. It is instead going to be at Tuesdays, this Tuesday at 8 p.m. I have a family event to go to Wednesday evening. We'll be back to our regular time the following week. Also, be sure to follow Michael and I on Facebook and Twitter. We'll make an announcement sometime this week about how we're going to handle the Super Bowl for next week. Hope you guys are going to tune in after this show to the Grammys, which have just started a little while ago, and catch the legendary Daft Punk duo perform live for the first time in ages. So it should be a hell of a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode. A little shorter than normal, but you only had a single host, so that's the way it's going to be. But I still want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. It's always a blast to have you guys on here. Stay tuned for post-show, and yeah, for From Mother's Basement. I'm Jason, and we'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, everybody.